Well, let's see how this goes. Talking about it a little bit yesterday. I think nowadays people, when they get a hole in their socks, they just go buy a new pair. Well, back in my day, what we would usually do is darn the sock. No, just kidding. They wear out, particularly in the heel and in the toe. You get a little hole like that. Of course, in the spirit of transparency, I actually cut the hole. I didn't have a sock that was worn out. So how do we darn socks? Well, there's a few things that you need. Of course, let's see if we can get these where you can see them. You need needles. That biggest one there in the middle is probably used for darning. That should be a darning needle. And of course, thread. Typically, you would use thread that would match the sock, but for, make it more visible while we're doing this, I'm going to use a color that stands out. And then you use, believe it or not, a light bulb. I'll show you how that works in a minute. And one of the things that I find especially helpful at my age and with my eyesight, that is a needle threader. And nothing worse than trying to take a small thread and stick it through a small hole so you can thread the needle. And of course, a pair of scissors. That also helps. Let's see if I can get this started. I should maybe have found the beginning of this thread before I started the video. It doesn't look like it's going to cooperate. Oh, there we go. I did find it. So the first thing you do is take a length of thread. I'm not going to really be too concerned about the length, since this is just a demonstration. Snip that. There we go. Now I'll get the bigger needle here. The biggest. There we go. And you can see what I mean. See the size of that hole. I'm trying to get that thread through it. This little device, you can just stick it through, and it's got a nice big hole, relatively speaking, and I still can't get it. Let's get back here a little further. Drop it. I didn't say I was good at this. Okay. There we go. No, we don't. There we go. Now we have that through. Okay. Now we just pull that back through. There you go. That was easy, wasn't it? Yes. And let's pull these so that they're fairly even. There's two ways you can do this. You can tie a knot in the end, just by putting it around your finger. Up. Rolling it through. Makes a little knot. That works well with material, but socks have such an open weave, I wouldn't be surprised if it would just pull through. So the other way to do it is just to stop short before you pull the thread all the way through. Now, the light bulb. You wouldn't normally think you would use a light bulb for sewing, but in the case of darning a sock, by putting the light bulb inside the sock, look at that. You get a nice hard surface to sew against. So that's always very helpful. There's two schools of thought, or as they say there. Do you say schedule or schedule? I've always heard there's two schools of thought on that. Anyway, so we basically just put the thread through, pull it up so that it's close, and just using a straight stitch. Just go around and around. Go a little snug. And around, and just keep going. And sew it as close as the stitches as you want. Make sure you get far enough down in the material so that it doesn't just pull through. See what we're doing there? Just keep going until the hole's closed. There we go. Now, I wasn't the seamstress in our family. My mother was, or one of my sisters. So, I don't know how great of a job I'm going to do on this, or how great I'm doing, as far as that goes. But I have sewn a few things, patched a few things. There we go. Yeah, kind of sloppy, but hey, it's done, sort of. And then what typically would do is you go through, okay, and then back through the loop before you close it. You do that a couple of times. Back through there. Oop. Back through there. And you've basically made a knot. So you've tied the thread off. And you've got it more or less stitched up. Now, some people bite the thread to break it. Not with my teeth. I'm getting those worked on, by the way. So I just take my scissors, snip, push out the bulb, boing, and there's a very poor looking, but the technique is what we're talking about here. Not a fashion statement. So it works pretty good. The only other thing that I've got to explore this a little bit. This also was in the sewing kit. It's a thimble. It fits on your finger to keep yourself from, help prevent yourself from stabbing yourself in the finger with the needle as you sew. But I'm not sure which finger it goes on. I'll have to research that. See if it goes on the index or the second. I guess it depends on where you think you might stab yourself. I'd probably need to wear 5 of them. So, well, I hope that was helpful. We'll look at some other things here in the future. But we always tended to try and fix up and reuse and repurpose, repair, instead of buying new. And I know that might seem like a simple little thing, but we had 6 kids in our family. So when you're buying socks for 6 people, 8 people, if you count my parents, that could be an annual savings. So think about that next time that your sock's got a hole in it. Maybe give it a shot. Hopefully you do a better job than I just did. Thanks for everything.